Well, actually, let's get him on now. This is former Labour MP, Simon Danczuk. Welcome, Simon.
Good to be with you, Kevin.
Always a pleasure. Now, I want to talk about Peter Mandelson, who doesn't seem to have got the memo. We don't want to see his disgraced little face ever again. Popping up here, writing pieces for the Spectator every week, going on telly. No, mate. You're a paedophile's friend. You disgraced yourself. You are in shame. Go away. Even The Guardian said a couple of Sundays ago, it is time this man disappeared. But he doesn't get the message because he's so full of himself. Let's remind ourselves of his latest, a shocking blunder, when he went on to Laura Kuenssberg's show on the BBC and refused to apologise to the victims of his best pal, the convicted paedophile, now dead, thank God, Jeffrey Epstein. Take it away, Mandy.
Do you want to take this chance to apologise to his victims for your association with him, which went years beyond his original conviction?
I want to apologise to those women for a system that refused to hear their voices and did not give them the protection they were entitled to expect.
So, Simon, I mean, was he still, hovering around Prince of Darkness during your Labour days in Westminster?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it, Kevin. I've been in and around the Labour Party for nearly, well, for over 35 years. So Mandelson has been a very big figure practically through all of that time that I was involved in the Labour Party. It is exceptionally distasteful, isn't it, to say the least. But in some ways, I'm glad that you're talking about him, because if we don't talk about him, we won't get him out of public life completely, and that's my ambition, to see him thrown out of the House of Lords. And this casts as much concern about Starmer's judgment. Not only did he make him US ambassador from Great Britain, but he also keeps him in the Labour Party now. I mean, why would you do that? It's a real problem for Starmer, is this. But as you say, he's been given a platform by the BBC. He's written 2 articles for the Spectator.
Yeah, it's the second week in a row. It's like a memo to Lord Gove now, Michael Gove, the editor. Enough of this. And by the way, he's not a very good writer. His piece this week is, it's tedious, bleeding obvious. Oh, let's compare the rise of reform with the SDP back in the early 1980s. Oh, brilliant. And it's not very well written. He's not a particularly good writer. So stop putting him in the Spectator. And his failure to apologise to the victims of his best pal, Jeffrey Epstein, is a disgrace. And let's remind ourselves, I keep hearing this guy is a genius, he's brilliant. I guess he's a decent political operator, but he has absolutely no judgment whatsoever. Sacked by Blair for Notting Hill Gate. Remember that, when he took a big mortgage from Jeffrey Robinson without telling anyone. Then sacked for dodgily trying to get the Hinduja brothers a passport, a British passport under the counter. Sacked for that. And then he gets this job, God knows why, of being our man in Washington, our ambassador to America, the top diplomatic job in the country, and disgraces himself when we learn of his outrageous friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, which continued way after Epstein was convicted of child sex abuse. Peter Mandelson has no judgment, and as such, I reject the notion that he's some kind of political genius. I think he's an idiot.
Completely agree with you. And, you'll recall that I helped many of the victims in the Rochdale grooming scandal.
Yes, of course, yes.
Who were abused. I wrote the book about Cyril Smith, Smile for the Camera, The Double Life of Cyril Smith, which is very much about a big politician who was also a paedophile. And the reason I mention this is it's this that makes me feel so strongly about it. I've met very many victims of child abuse. Epstein was clearly a paedophile. Mandelson clearly knew that, but he carried on, not his association, as Laura Kuenssberg calls it. It was a close friendship.
Best pal, best pal.
Best pals, not an association. close friends. And anybody who's studied the Epstein case, as I have, will know that anybody entering his properties, whether it's in New York or on the island or anywhere else, would know that that what was going on there was clearly wrong.
Yeah, exactly right, Simon.
So obvious.
Yeah, he you know, don't forget, you know, Mandelson is his own greatest admirer. He's the one who spread this myth of the political genius, you know, the mastermind behind New Labour and all that. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, nobody's saying he's a moron, but frankly, politically, he is a moron because he's got no judgment. And what he said to Laura Kuenssberg is another example of his profound stupidity. Laura Kuenssberg said, you know, your friend, you kept going to Pedo Island, you know, where there are all these young women, some of them underage, scantily clad, all these powerful men turning up, doing God knows what. You must, you know, what did you think about, well, you must have known about that. Oh, no, I didn't know, because I was a gay man. I mean, if you believe that, I've got some swampland to sell you in Florida. Who does he think he's kidding? Of course he knew.
Of course he knew. Trying to kid us. And I make this important point. One of the reasons that Cyril Smith got away with being a paedophile is because, one, he used to use corporal punishment. He used to smack boys who he abused. He used to smack them. And in those days, in the 70s, etc., it was more accepted to use corporal punishment. And then on the other angle, because being gay was being accepted, some people just thought he was a gay man, and that he wasn't a paedophile, and that's how he managed to. That helped him get away with it. But the bigger point in all of this is paedophiles like Cyril Smith, like Jeffrey Epstein, get away with it because powerful people choose to turn a blind eye, and Mandelson chose to turn a blind eye. He should have no place in public office ever again.
And as The Guardian said, it's time for him to disappear, but he won't get the message because I mean, I don't know Mandelson, but the image I get of this guy is what keeps him hanging on in there, writing pieces for the Spectator, going on to the BBC, is that probably the biggest factor in his life is his own ego.
Well, undoubtedly, I think that's exactly what's driving him, and I think to the point where he's actually annoyed by Starmer for having been sacked for a third time in his public life. I think he's annoyed at Starmer for that. But you're exactly right, and his judgment isn't good. If you read the...
It isn't good, it's catastrophic.
He's totally uninformed. He's talking about, in this Spectator article, he's talking about reform and what the British people think. He has no idea what's going on in the real world, and it shows in the article. Apparently he touted the article all around various publications and magazines, and finally the Spectator accepted it. Why people are trying to regenerate him and give him another chance is quite beyond me.
Yeah, I'll tell you, just finally, you know, that piece that he wrote repeated that tired old mantra, or, you know, elections are won from the centre. I'll tell you, what Mandelson doesn't realise is time has moved on. The times have changed. And I'll tell you this, Simon, I don't think the next election will be won in the centre. Do you?
No, I don't. No, you're absolutely right. You know, things have moved to the centre-right, if we want to use that trajectory. Centre-right politics, and people are coalescing around reform. There's no doubt about that. And that's where I think the next general election will be. Yeah,
he's just trying to knock down reform, isn't he? Bad luck, Mandelson. No one's listening to you anymore. Don't write any more pieces. You can't write. Simon, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Simon Danczuk there with some very forthright opinions about Peter Mandelson. Just what I wanted to hear. Former Labour MP, knows about Mandelson, the Prince of Darkness, they used to call him.